welcome back to my channel. I'm now in the UK and I'm taking a break for 1 month. I'm just here at my parents' house, which is in Cambridgeshire, not too far away from Cambridge, about 20 minutes drive. And you probably subscribed to my channel fairly recently, unless you've been following me for a long time. My last trip I visited Bangladesh, Indonesia and Malaysia. Before that India, and before that I travelled around Eastern Europe, Hungary, Bulgaria, Romania and Kosovo, Macedonia. And my channel's grown a fair bit over the last 6 months particularly, and I think now is the right time to do a Q&A video, as I mentioned in my Surabaya vlog. So without further ado, I've got all your questions in front of me. Haven't looked into them too much, I'm just going to crack into them, and yeah, I'll try and answer as honestly as possible, and hopefully you'll all be satisfied. So the first question was by Yudi Feridan. What's your favourite place you visited so far? That's such a good question. Hong Kong for me. Hong Kong is so diverse. It's like a mix of East and West. Such a fascinating city because the streets are really narrow, the buildings are so high, and such a high density of people in a small area. And the people there are really polite, actually. They're very friendly. There are definitely differences with mainland China. And Hong Kong was the first ever place I went by myself before I spent my 1 year working in China. And Hong Kong just really captivated me. Next question was from TNZ space TNZI. From your honest opinion, are India and Bangladesh really safe for female solo travellers? Do you recommend these countries for women going alone? Please, honest answer. When I was in India, I met a lot of solo female travellers in hostels and things. So there's definitely people there doing it. For India, there's a lot of negative media about being a female traveller, and perhaps that's justified by, you see on the news quite often some very sad stories, but that's not just with foreigners. Often it's with actual Indians, and often young Indian girls get victims of crimes and things like that. So yes, I do think India is probably less safe than other countries as a solo female traveller. I don't think there's really much doubt about that. I think do a bit of research before you go. Know which areas you're going to. If you're going to the Golden Triangle, chances are those are more touristy, those places, and you're most likely to be safer. If you're going to more isolated parts of India, maybe that's where you want to be more careful, actually. Don't let it stop you from visiting India. It's a fascinating country. Just do your research before you go, and again, take your own decision. I would say go for it. Sonny Goodman, aka Sonny the Singer. Hey buddy, what are your hobbies? Do you play any instruments? Can you sing? I'm a terrible singer and I can't play any instruments. Hobbies, I think football comes to mind. Like, football is my biggest hobby. Watching it or playing it, I've been obsessed my whole life. Premier League, World Cup, whatever it is, anything to do with football, I consume it. And when I'm traveling, I try and keep in touch as much as I can. Other hobbies include anything to do with travel, to be honest, because it's what my life, and I guess you could call career, revolves around at the moment. Whether it's watching a travel documentary, watching vloggers, maybe reading a book while I'm traveling about like old-fashioned travelers like Heinrich Herre in his book 7 Years in Tibet. And I love to just read travel guides all the time, look at maps, just anything to do with travel and exploring new places, meeting new people, different cultures, food, everything embedded into that. It just sparks my interest. A question from my good friend Mario Cam13, who lives not too far away from me here, has been my friend since childhood. Shout out to him. So he said, out of all the places you visited so far, where do you think has shown the best hospitality? Bangladesh, absolutely. If you've seen my Bangladesh videos, you'll know what I mean. I think a close second, Java. The hospitality, the Indonesian people, I can only speak on behalf of the island of Java, it was incredible. And Bulgaria, because I met a very nice host, Georgie, who took me in and paid for all my food when we went out for dinner and bought me drinks, and he was so kind, and he left a really good impression on me in the northern Bulgarian town of Ruse. Ivan Yakimov. How do you trust people on Couchsurfing, and aren't you worried about the street food? It might be contaminated or something. A lot of people experience stomach aches and diarrhea. I trust people on Couchsurfing because you get references, you get pictures. You can even message the person and get to know them a bit. You can even talk to them on the phone before you meet them. You know, just use your common sense. I'd say if you're a beginner and you're a bit unsure, then go for someone with over 10 references, with some good pictures. Read the references, and I'm sure they're a great person. Don't go with profiles with no references with a dodgy picture. You don't know who that's going to be. Street food depends on which country you're in, mainly. I think you're more likely to get sick. Again, I don't want to speak negatively about India, but, you know, based on my experience, I got sick 3 times in India. Countries like Indonesia and Malaysia, I didn't get sick once. I'm vegetarian too. If you eat meat, then maybe you want to think about not eating street food too often, but it's a great way to also travel cheap. I don't really get worried. I think to begin with, when I first started traveling, I was worried about street food. I didn't really go many places. Definitely over the last year, I have just relaxed completely with food, and I pretty much eat anything now, anywhere. I don't really mind, and I never get sick. So I guess that's just the way things have gone. Use your common sense once again. I think that's something I'm going to repeat in a lot of answers, but yeah, street food, just if it's been out in the sun for ages, if the place looks really dirty, if there's flies everywhere, wash your hands before you start eating with your hands if you're going to do that, all that kind of stuff. Kale, hey no. How do you cope with homesickness, if not at all? To be honest, I don't get homesick. I love traveling so much. I've always got a big appetite to do more and more and more. The only reason I sort of come home is to regroup, regather my thoughts, my finances. Maybe I need a couple things from the UK. I need to go to one of my banks. Maybe I need to do something with my phone contract, catch up with my friends and family because I want them to remember that I still exist. But apart from that, I don't really get homesick. I love traveling, and I'm in this for the long term. JGP Travel. British people are usually crazy about football, correct? Which club do you support? Hull City. They're a club from city of Hull in the north of England. They're in the Championship, which is the league below the Premier League, and hopefully we'll go back up to the top flight this season. Dev for Tours. Slaughtering all of your names here. What did you prepare when the first time you wanted to travel? And do you have any advice for a newbie like me who wants to start travel out of a country for the first time? And which country that attracted you the most and why? Thank you, Jason. Hope you had an amazing trip while you were here. I think he's talking about Indonesia. So what did you prepare for the first time you wanted to start traveling? I was not prepared at all. I just wanted to get going. I didn't have much, and I think the best thing to do is just take action, and you'll learn from your mistakes on the trip, and from there you will correct those faults. For example, I made all kinds of mistakes. I didn't bring locks with me, you know, so when I got to hostels I had these problems, and a couple of times my card wouldn't work, and I was thinking, why didn't I bring 2 cards? You know, then I could, if one card didn't work, then I could just withdraw money on the other card. You know, you just learn these things as you go along. So just get going, and you will eventually start to find your way. You don't really need to be prepared. Just have enough money for where you're going, of course, and know that you can probably budget far more than you think you can. When you're actually out there, sometimes you realize, wow, I'm saving so much money. Combine it with something like Couchsurfing, and you can keep going for a long time, trust me. And which country attracted you the most and why? It was always India, and now I've been there. I don't know if there's anywhere that really jumps out at me at the moment. I think the Middle East really interests me a lot. Countries like Egypt, Israel, Jordan. I'd love to go somewhere like Afghanistan, Pakistan. Just question the marks on safety and the right time of year to go, and can I organise a proper trip? Hopefully I'll get the chance to visit all of those countries in the future. I think it's done on a case-by-case basis. Let's have a think about it and we'll see what happens. 7Z. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Hopefully with a substantial following, and maybe I will start getting into making travel documentaries, going a bit deeper. I really love watching Ross Kemp on Gangs, Ross Kemp Extreme World. I love this particular niche of sort of dangerous places, and I'd love to really get under the skin of some places and get to the bottom of some issues around the world that really make a difference, that spread awareness. Over time, I'd love to transition into something where I feel like I'm actually making a difference, even though I am promoting tourism, yes, but a bigger difference than just doing that. Have you ever thought of being a tour guide? I guess that's what I'm doing now via the internet for free, just with my videos. Do you have health insurance? Of course, always take out insurance. You don't have to pay for a really expensive one. Just cover your medical costs. You should be fine. Alda Sukma. Which app do you use to edit video? I use iMovie on my Mac. Where are you from? UK, of course. I live near Cambridge. I was originally born in Beverley, which is just outside of Hull in the north of England, and that's why I support Hull City. Until now, how many countries have you visited? 29. Probably not as many as you think, but I guess still quite a few considering I'm just 22 years old. Wynam Char, what are your career plans and how will they fit into your travel plans? Plan to carry on making travel videos and keep going as long as I can and expand from there. Ken Akaran, how long are you going to travel the world? 6 months, 1 year? Well, hopefully for the long term, stopping for breaks in the UK and say Malaysia and my other home bases in between. But for the long term, I'd like to travel and continue to explore different countries and make videos from all kinds of different parts of the world. Srinivasan Iya, what is the very first thing you do when you enter a new country? Do you hunt for a local SIM? That's actually very true. Looking for a SIM card is the first thing I always do. I withdraw money, look for a SIM card. Once you've got that sorted, then you can work out where you're going with your 3G on your new SIM card. That's the easiest way to go about it. Question from Long Y Lian. How do you get to know your girlfriend and where is she from? Why didn't you bring her along to your trips? I got to know her in Malaysia, my first time there. She's Malaysian. I don't bring her along on my trips because she lives in Malaysia and she's still a student, she's still earning money. We'd like to travel together in the future, maybe she'll be in some of my vlogs. And we have plans, but yeah, it's not always easy. My job is a YouTuber and she's work online, so she needs to save some money aside if she wants to come with me. We meet each other every month or so and we have a break for a month or so. It works out well. We get a nice distance and then we have that connection. Ildiza, if you can only pick one country to be in for the rest of your life, which one will it be and why? That's a very difficult question. I'd have to pick a big country with many different things I could do, with mountains, with jungles, with beaches. Indonesia. Mr. B, hey Jason, I hope you're doing well. I have one question for you. Does travelling change a person? Yes, it does. I have no doubt about that. Especially travelling solo. You'll rethink everything about your life when you travel on your own. You get thrown into a pit of fire in a way, and you have to deal with everything that comes up. And I think the deeper cultural places you go to, the more you'll be thinking about and questioning everything that you know, and I certainly believe it will change you. Maybe it's from the people you meet, from the experiences you have, from the things you can see. The way you look at the world will change. Saleha Abdullah, questions. She's got a few. When is your birthday? 24th of August 1995. Do you have a favourite quote? Be the change you want to see in the world. Do you have a favourite motto? There was a song recently, if it's meant to be, it'll be. I like that. What life advice would you give to anybody? Take action. If you could be really good at anything in the world, what would it be? Not videography, not making the films, but I think my interactions with people. I'd like to be really good at that. What is your phobia? Being trapped in small spaces. If I'm stuck in a lift. Yeah, I don't like small spaces too much. What is the scariest thing you've ever done? For me it wasn't scary, but for others perhaps. Skydiving from 13,000 feet was something that I loved and I would do again. What else was scary? I nearly drowned in Switzerland in a lake when I knew that the distance was too far for me to swim, and I did it anyway, and then that was scary. that wasn't a good time. What's the coolest thing you've ever done? Perhaps skydiving, maybe staying with local people in Bangladesh, and maybe deep Diwali in Varanasi on a boat in the Ganges for 5 hours. I lived in China for a year. I guess they're cool things to do. Which video did you enjoy making the most and why? My Sri Mangal Bangladesh video. Just watch it and you'll see the sheer joy of myself and all the people I meet. I love that video so much. Which country would you like to visit but haven't yet? I mentioned a few countries in the Middle East earlier. I'd love to go somewhere really different. Mongolia, Alaska, Greenland, these kind of really undiscovered places. They're just so expensive to fly to, but hopefully in the future. Juanjo, hi Jason, is there any country that you're not going to visit? At the moment, I guess I wouldn't go to Syria, Yemen, these places. Wandering Spirit, what type of money do you generate monthly? on YouTube with 79k subscribers. Usually it varies, but I'd say average 350 to 400 British pounds a month from just my ad revenue. Thank you and happy travels. Your vids are fantastic. Thank you. Tourism Mashed Khan. How do you manage to cope, stay cool with other people from unknown country? Yeah, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you do have to be really patient because of cultural differences. You can sometimes get frustrated, but people are also rich in qualities in ways that Westerners don't have. They can be patient when we can't. They can be kind when we can't. So, you know, you just have to see the good in other people. Do you get bored, tired, lazy, afraid of traveling? Yeah, like I said, not really so far. Chuck me in a few really undiscovered, difficult countries for more than 3 or 4 months, and I'm sure I'll want to come back to the UK for a little while, but absolutely not. I do just love traveling and love seeing new places and meeting new people so much, and yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world. That's all the questions I selected. I don't want this video to be too long. Thank you so much if you made it to the end. I'm planning to go back out there very soon in a few weeks' time. Stay tuned to find out where it's going to be. If you'd like to support me and help donate to my travels, even if it's just $1 a month, it would really help. A couple hundred people who could support me $1 a month would mean that I'm actually in profit for the first time ever in terms of how much money I'm earning to spending a month. There's so many better things than me for you to donate your money towards and, you know, put $1 on. But if you love my videos, if you want to give something back, the Patreon link is below. Yeah, that's everything for this video. Thank you so much for watching from my home here in the UK. Nice and warm at the moment in the summer, and I'll end it there. Peace.